You're watching the Batter Fans Network.
The heroes are back. Beards, funky balls, rapping pink and black. Coming live from the 305, it's official tissue. The Batter Fan, Chris and Dan, weekly rocking with you. We talk Messi, Boosie, Jordy, Lucho, the Fat Four, to Ben Cram, Noah, Ruiz, Fred. What more could you ask for? Tighten up and get ready, listen in on the pod. Solana and X in Espanol, just to even the odds. Breakdowns and gas bagging, join the tribe and just vibe. Free 99, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't hesitate, say what's up, go ahead and come in. No question about it, I'm ready to get hurt again.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
Chris, you're still not here. Welcome everybody to episode number 401 of the Battle Heroes podcast. I am your host, Dave Ganada, and alongside me is usually Mr. KBD, but he is not here today. We will have somebody else come in a couple minutes. But for those of you, before you ask, because I know everybody has been wishing him well, Chris is doing much better. He has since returned home, so he did get out of the hospital today. He is resting, and he is doing much better. He said that he hopes to be on for the post-game Saturday night. So that is the update on Chris. We miss you, Chris. The show isn't the same without you. So shout out to Chris. And the chat misses you also because you do the best job of putting these comments up. I apologize because I'm just not as good. And Chris, Messi is back. Yes, that is a good one, Florida man. Messi is back. I mean, I don't think anybody that's a regular on our show, I didn't see many people saying that they thought that Messi would leave. We never thought that Messi would leave. In general, it didn't make any sense. The stadium's about to open up. He has to be here for that opening of the stadium. Not only because Jorge Mas is probably begging him to be here, but he also has stake in the team. So the longer or the higher the value of the team and of the stadium, that's more money for him also. This is a long-term play. Everybody's like, oh, he should have taken the Saudi money. The Saudi money was a short-term play. That's a nice big paycheck, absolutely. There's no denying that. But that was 2 years, and then that's it. But what he's doing right now, the way he invested in this team, or he's going to have the opportunity to invest in this team, that's a long-term play. He's going to keep making money off of this. So it is absolutely awesome to hear that he's staying, even though we figured he would. Now, the news of the day, I think more than anything, was the fact that apparently he could be staying until 2028. Now, that is something that I was not expecting. I always thought he would be here for the opening of the stadium and for the World Cup. 2026, I thought was a shoo-in. He would have an option for 2027, which I was hoping, and I felt pretty good that he might come back for one more year. I wasn't sure, but I felt pretty good about it. But 2028, that completely catches me off guard. I was not expecting 2028 to be at all an option. And I actually, when I initially heard it, I was surprised. Then the more I thought about it, it makes a little more sense. And I'll tell you my reasoning in a second. But before I do, let me bring on Mr. Daniel Solana. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I apologize for being late. Like I told you, I was wiping my son's butt. So I apologize about that.
Hey, man, I'm there also. I still got to wipe my son's butt also. So I'm right there with you. And we lost Solana. All right. But my mic is still working. So at least we got that going. So while Solana figures out whatever's happening over there, the 2028 thing, at first it caught me off guard. Because I couldn't imagine him extending for a full other year, playing from the beginning of 2028 all the way to the final, hopefully, of 2028. But as I started thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense. Because remember that Don Garber has made it seem like the change in calendar is coming. And there's a good chance that it begins in 2027. Now, what does that mean? Well, right now, the 2025 season started in February, ends in December. The 2026 season, by all accounts, seems like it's going to start in February and in December. The 2027 season is what's in question. We don't know how the start of the calendar is going to look. If they start in August, are we going to have a mini season in 2027? That's what it seems like it might be. It might be a mini season in 2027. And then the new season starts in August of 2027. And then it ends in May of 2028. So yes, although Messi technically would be playing 2028. It would be more or less finishing the 2027-28 season. So it's not a full 2028. We're not going to get him until December 2028. And
Well,
I'm still thankful, but
you also have to mention also that he has a opt out clause in his contract, or that's what they're working into it at the end of each season. So he could opt out at the end of 26, at the end of 27, or obviously his contract would be done at the end of 28.
Well, it's funny because I was on with Will, and I think it was Will that told me that it sounded like it was a club option, which makes no sense to me. I don't know why. Of course, the club is going to want to bring him back, but that's what Will said that he had heard. Now, I got on with Will half an hour after the news broke, so a lot of stuff that maybe hasn't been officially announced. And honestly, I haven't really heard this from too many places. I feel like this is all it was one reporter from Argentina that said it, and kind of everybody kind of ran with it as the big news. I don't know if you've heard it from anywhere else. I haven't heard it from anywhere else.
No, the reporter was actually from Barcelona.
Okay.
Yep. And they mentioned it on their show earlier today, talking about how Messi was going to re-sign for 3 years, and everybody kind of took off based off of that news. So again, it's still rumored that it's going to happen. We don't have anything official from the club or anything official from any of the big writers. But we'll definitely be on the lookout for that. But all indications, and also with the Rodrigo de Paul signing, of course, all indications point to Messi, definitely re-signing and for those 3 years.
And let me just be clear, because everybody keeps saying Messi playing until 41 is crazy. He would be playing until 40. His birthday is in late June when he turns 41. That season would technically end at the end of May, beginning of June. So it would end before his 41st birthday. So by all accounts, I know I'm talking semantics here because he's almost 41, but he would end his contract with Inter Miami, if all this news is accurate, by the age of 40, late 40, but 40 nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I'm hearing as well. But we'll have to wait and see when the club makes it official, right? That'll make it official tissue, just like we waited for the Rodrigo de Paul statement on last Friday. So we know it's coming, Danny. We know it's coming. It should be announced within the next couple of weeks, and then we'll know really, deep down the nitty-gritty what the club and Messi agreed to. Is there going to be a option for him to own a piece of the club or a piece of another club in another city? Will he be given that David Beckham deal as part of his new contract? I think there's going to be some sort of that, in the semantics of the deal. But at the end of the day, what we care about as folks who follow the team, as folks who cover the team, is, Messi being in the uniform for the next couple of years so that we can enjoy him and our kids can enjoy him, and really other people who haven't had a chance to see the best player to ever play the game. And you know how much it cost me to say that, because I'm no fan of Messi, never was a fan of Messi, but he is, the best player to ever play this game, and you got to respect him for that.
Absolutely. And that's something that I brought up when I was with Will on his show earlier, was that selfishly, this makes me very happy because my kids are just now starting to really get heavy into soccer. And my son, for example, he watched the 5-0 win against Orlando, which was probably one of the funnest games I've taken him to. He didn't appreciate it. He's just now starting to appreciate the sport, Messi, and things like that. And if he leaves, let's say next year, my son will be, 7? That long-term memory won't stay there. But 2028, I have more of a chance of my son really appreciating the greatness that he's getting to watch. My daughter's 9. By the time he leaves, she'll be 12. Like, these are long-term memories that they'll be able to say, I remember watching the go play. And we have pretty decent seats. I remember watching the go play and seeing them really up close. So selfishly, for many reasons, on top of being an Inter Miami fan, just for my kids' sake, the fact that they get to watch him play for a couple more years, it's just so many positives here. This is just a good day if it's accurate. Now, my worry is that people started talking a little too quickly, and we're putting what's the saying? The horse before the carriage, or the carriage before the horse? Because
you're counting your chickens before they hatch, basically.
Yeah, because people are running with this news, but nothing official has come out yet.
Yeah, No, I mean it's true, nothing official, but it is nice, like how they say freedom to dream. It is nice to think about the fact that Messi is going to sign that 3-year contract. Like you said, our kids are going to be able to continue to watch him, and yeah, as my son is here and trying to become famous himself here and get on the show. It's beautiful, man, and really what he's been doing over the course of this season at his age of, he started the season at 37. Now he's 38 years old. Another player of the month. We really can't talk, enough about what he's meant to this organization and what he's meant to the league as a whole. I know that there's a lot of, folks that don't, say that they don't want him in the league, or that they can't wait until he's gone. As we've become accustomed to, when I'm on this English show, I'll have a rant to end the show that'll be addressed to them.
Well, somebody asked an interesting question. Will he hit 1,000 goals now that he's here till 2028? Well, if you really think about it, we have a little less than half a season to go this year. We have a full season next year, and then we have basically a year and a half after that. And he's missing 128 goals in 3 years. I think it's possible. He has to average about 40 goals a year, which is a lot to ask for, but he'll get close. He'll get close. Will he achieve it? I don't know, but he'll definitely get close to that 1,000 mark.
No, I mean, there's absolutely no doubt, man. There's no doubt, especially if he keeps going at the clip. And thank you, he does. Especially if he keeps going at this clip, right? He's got 24 goals and 10 assists this year in all competitions. He's still leading the league in goals for the MLS season. So there's no doubt that he'll have a chance to do that, especially if Inter Miami continues to play as many games and as many competitions as they have been playing while he's been here.
And living a color abroad. I don't know why you guys are running with this if it's not confirmed. Because it's fun to talk and we do a talk show. I mean, if it wasn't for this, then we'd just be talking straight
Necaxa.
So I don't know if you want us to talk Necaxa for an hour, but it's sports talk, and this is just what sports talk is. We just find things to talk about, and we talk about them. And,
yeah.
All right,
unfortunately, Necaxa is not a big enough club to give him 60 minutes worth of battered herons airtime. So
they could be because with the whole Eva Longoria, Ryan Reynolds, and Robert Mack buying them and them becoming the next Wrexham, I think Necaxa is all of a sudden going to become a household name very soon. They got this show that premieres like August 7th. And if you guys were not aware, for those of you that know what Wrexham is, Necaxa, the team that we play on Saturday, the second game of the League's Cup, they have now invested and they're starting to do a TV show based on that team. So Necaxa on FX, like Sean Callahan just said. So they're going to be a team worth talking about very soon because they're going to, if for nothing else, they're going to become a household name.
No doubt. And they're going about it the right way, right? And I was throwing a friendly jab at our Mexican friends who follow Necaxa. Obviously, what Ryan Reynolds has done for English football, for Wrexham, is unbelievable. And I think his business model, he's going to go ahead and apply it here in Liga MX. And if he does, maybe the next step is to acquire an MLS club and follow that business model. And if we can do that and continue to get these owners that are are dreaming to have these big clubs and to make MLS an international name, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it, and I think he's going about it the right way with this series. I'm a little jealous, and I think that we should have one for MLS, almost like like NFL has Hard Knocks. Like it would be really cool to have
absolutely
somebody do that with the MLS.
That would be really cool. And Mariela's asking how Chris is. She got here late. Chris is doing good. He got out of the hospital today. He's resting. He says that he hopes to be available for the post game after the Saturday's match against Necaxa. So yes, but he is doing much better, and he appreciates all the kind wishes. But so we'll see. He might be back on Saturday night. All right. So Messi 2028 again, not confirmed, but great news if it does come to fruition because having him here. I honestly never expected 2028. I always thought 2027. Technically, because of the new calendar year, it makes a little more sense because he would be starting 2027 and ending 2028. But still great news, and I'm looking forward to it. But I do expect him here next year, so that doesn't change. Before all of this, I still expected him here next year and possibly 2027.
No, I mean, no doubt with DePaul signing. I mean, that was the icing on the cake, right? In terms of figuring out if he was going to be coming back or not. So,
yeah, and it's great for the league. The relevancy continues. Everybody's going to keep watching, and more players are going to come play. So it's just great news, I think, for the league if it is true. So Solana wasn't here yesterday for the Atlas post game. Atlas, we won late 92nd minute. We scored, and we stole those 3 points. If I don't have it here, let me see if I can pull it up in a second. But as of right now, Miami is one of the leaders in the.
Yeah, they're in third place. They're in third place, Danny, right behind Portland and Minnesota, who is ahead of Inter Miami because of goal differential. They also won their games. If I'm not mistaken, Portland thrashed their opponent 4-0, and Minnesota won 3-1. So by way of goal differential, they're ahead of Inter Miami. And just behind Inter Miami was Real Salt Lake, who tied their game 1-1 and won on penalties. They beat Mexican Giants America. So I just saved you for putting the graphic. I was going through stats today, and I kind of memorized all those.
Well, I was going to put up a graphic, but it was for a different reason that I was going to put it up because when I was doing the MLS show, we were kind of predicting what teams would make it to the top 4. But when you look at it, and I'm going to pull it up right now, it looks like Miami really lucked out with the group they have. And I feel like it's a foregone conclusion that out of these 6 MLS teams, that this is where the top 4 will come from. Let me see if it lets me pop it up right now. All right, so right here we have the 6 groups. These are the 6 groups. This is the way they divide it. Now, right up the middle, you see that the top where it says East, Inter Miami, Orlando, Atlanta. Those 3 teams have a decent draw with Atlas, Necaxa, and Pumas, which are kind of down right now. Pumas isn't in the best form. And then when you look at the bottom 3, Minnesota, Real Salt Lake, and Portland, they ended up with 2 really soft Mexican teams on there. Querétaro, which is the worst team in the league, and I forgot who that other team with Minnesota is. But I truly believe that the 4 teams are going to come out of one of those 2 groups. Out of those 6 teams, I think 4 of them will be, because in every other group you have big-time Mexican teams like Cruz Azul, Monterrey. You have Toluca, Pachuca, Tigres. Club America, I know, is big, but right now they're going through a tough time also. So Club America and Pumas are the Mexican teams that are usually really, really recognizable names that are currently going through a tough time. So I feel like those 2 groups right down the middle, starting from Inter Miami, Orlando, Atlanta, Minnesota, Real Salt Lake, and Portland, I think that those are the 6 teams that will be fighting for 4 spots, because I think those are the 6 teams that have the best chance of making it. We'll see how today goes, but I really do think that those teams are going to come out of those 2 groups. So I know Miami is one of those, and Portland and Minnesota also.
Yep, so far. But hey, there's still 2 more match days left. And like you said earlier, I threw a jab at Necaxa, but they proved that they belong on this stage, by what they did in their game yesterday. And then, and obviously Pumas, we're very aware of the type of firepower what they have, and what Keylor Navas showed against Orlando City yesterday, which that must have hurt for our fellow friends up in Orlando.
I thought that Orlando would win. They ended up drawing, but I thought that they would beat Pumas. But I do think that, like I said, I think that the 4 teams will come out of those 2 groups, and we'll see how that goes. So we had Atlas yesterday. Like I said, late game winner. Solana, or Little Solana, if he wants to chime in. Your thoughts on yesterday's win? Were you impressed with what you saw from Miami?
No, I wasn't impressed. I mean, I was that's what I expect from this team game in and game out. I expect that type of mentality, that type of attitude, for them to create those types of chances, that amount of chances, and look, just as much chances as they created, I expect them to give up as many chances as well, because of the limitations of how the MLS is set up and the roster limitations of the salary cap and all that, I don't expect them to blow out teams. Unfortunately, we can't build a Real Madrid. We can't build a Man City, although I know our owner, would love, to do that and wants to do that. But we can't do that, unfortunately. So I expect them to, have these games where they play very well on one side of the ball. And, they still played very well on the defensive end. Rocco Rios had a couple of nice saves.
Rocco Rios had a really good game.
Yeah. And I was talking to somebody, in my DMs about the game yesterday, and they were telling me that they don't like Rocco Rios because he's a short and that he didn't play that great. But look, I disagree. I thought he played fantastic. He had that one save that, maybe if he was 3 inches taller, it would have looked, a little bit easier. But for him, I thought it was a fantastic save. And he had a couple of other saves in the first half that were great as well. So overall, great by Rocco Rios and great by Rodrigo De Paul. Obviously, he didn't have a full training with the team. And he hadn't, essentially, they said he hadn't trained in a month. I don't believe that. I know he was training on the side with his personal trainer. But but he played 90 plus minutes. And he looked great. And I think he's only going to look better as he develops chemistry with the rest of the team, right?
Absolutely. Look, for somebody that just came in and hasn't practiced with the team, whether he hasn't practiced in a month or not, I don't know if that's true, but if he hasn't practiced with the team, and that's a fact. And the way he came in, he looked like he was connecting with everybody, like it was second nature, but that's just because he is a world-class player. We haven't seen exactly what we're going to get. We didn't get the world-class level from him yesterday because he has no chemistry with the players around him. He's still learning. Like I pointed out yesterday, there were moments where I saw Messi pointing to him, telling him where to go, where to be. So he's going to get that. Literally just arrived last weekend. But with all things considered, he still looked good in the midfield despite not having practice with the team. He is going to – if what I saw yesterday was him without any practice at all with the team, I'm really excited for when he finally becomes accustomed to playing with these guys and when he comes into form. I think it's going to be a problem for the rest of the league. So DePaul, great showing in my opinion. And I thought Miami looked good. I thought that very direct, very vertical. They weren't playing around. They knew that the Mexican teams aren't – it's kind of like the Club World Cup where they're not going to sit back and defend, and they're going to take advantage of that. They're going to be very direct with their passes. And if we had someone at the other end of those passes that was a tad better than Allende, I think that we would have scored more than once. But all in all, I thought a pretty decent performance from everybody, and I'm excited to see what they do on Saturday against Necaxa.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a similar game, right? I think these games, these international games, doesn't matter who we play against. Every game is going to be exciting. Every game is going to be open because these teams are trying to come to win. And I think the format of the tournament really offers that up as well, right? It offers for these games to be open because you need to score. You need to score as much as you possibly can to get as many goal differentials so that you can be within the top 4 of each one of the leagues. So I think the way that the tournament set up this year is fantastic. It offers for this type of game. But I also think that, unlike the MLS where teams want to play a low block against Inter Miami and the games become kind of boring, kind of repetitive, kind of redundant with what Inter Miami is trying to do by attacking through the middle, I think these games allow us opportunity to play against teams that are going to play a little bit more open. And we saw some more spaces last night. We saw Suarez get open and have a couple of easy chances that he missed. You mentioned a couple of Allende's chances. I know that one at the end of the first half was
right
killer.
At the top. Yeah, man. And then they blew the whistle and he went, and I felt bad for him. That's literally like he was a couple feet away from me. So I was watching him, and the way he went up to that post and put his forehead on it, I could tell how frustrated he is. He's trying. And I mean, I know you don't get any brownie points in professional sports for trying, right? Because you get paid to do what you do. But man, I feel for him because he's putting forth the effort. And I'm not a Suarez fan by any means. Everybody knows that. But yeah, man, he's very. You could see he's frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, his effort only gets you exactly what Dennis Lopez is doing right now, saying Suarez is a mess. So, I mean, look, he's at the end of his career. He's got a few months left. He's giving everything he has on a very cheap contract. So teams on the other end would kill to have players like Suarez, and we are lucky to witness him play every single day. So I know a colleague of ours, had something on Twitter about him, Armando, Jose Armando, I think is his name. He had something about him, and I agree with him. I think the fans need to give him a little bit more respect. I mean, I think it's ridiculous the amount of criticism. I think it's fair to criticize when he's playing poor, but he's played very well the last 3 games, especially the game that Messi was gone. He set up his teammates fantastic, and then I thought he played very well yesterday. Obviously, that last goal, it comes off of Messi's foot to Chelo Wigant, but you have to
got on the
also,
ball.
well, not only that, but I'm not only going to say Suarez. I'm also going to point out Jordi Alba, because Jordi Alba brings down the ball one touch beautifully and delivers it to Messi. Messi does his magic, finds Suarez. Suarez has the opportunity to pass it to Chelo or to pass it to Messi or shoot himself, and he chooses unselfishly to pass to Messi, finds Messi, and then we know what happens the rest of the way. So you have to look at those actions by the different players, for what they are, because at the end of the day, he's not going to offer you the same thing that he offered you 2 years ago, 3 years ago, not even as much as he offered you last year. He's older. He's playing a different game. And Mascherano said it in his press conference the other day that he's had a better couple of games these last couple of games.
Well, I thought that he has done a good job of doing everything but finishing, which is the main job of the striker. But everything else that a striker is supposed to do, he's been doing well. But that doesn't save you from criticism, because what you're supposed to do more than anything is finish. And he's had a hard time doing that. But he's putting forth effort. He doesn't, just because things are going bad, he doesn't stop trying. He's still hustling with his bad knees. He's pressing. So if nothing else, I got to give him credit for that, because when I watch him press, like everybody says, like, oh, these old guys aren't going to press. He puts forth full effort, and he's hauling ass to press. And that moves me on to Necaxa. Necaxa is a very aggressive pressing team. They are going to leave themselves vulnerable to the counter, which is where Miami shines. They are not very good defensively. So I think that Miami has a really good chance of they have a really good chance of succeeding against Necaxa. I really do. Now, my question is, do we stick with the 4-2-3-1? Because yesterday we came out, and I wasn't sure, but then Will confirmed that they said it was a 4-2-3-1, right? It's a lot easier to see it from the aerial view. My seats are almost on the ground, so it's not as easy to see. But I felt like it was a 4-2-3-1. Messi was playing very centrally, dropped behind Suarez, and then you had Segovia, almost like an inverted winger. When he had his opportunities to bring the ball in, he would. When he had his opportunities to attack out wide, he would. Jordi Alba with his overlapping runs was great. And I think the weak part here is Allende. Now, going into Saturday, I don't know. I didn't hear Mascherano's post-game press conference. I don't know if anybody asked him about what he thinks about Allende's performances as of late. But if this team wants to be the best that it can be, I would move Rodrigo de Paul over to where Tadeo Allende is. Move him up. Put him out on the right side. If you want to play a 4-4-2, have him out as a right midfielder. Like, I think that the best that this team could do is put out your best 11. And your best 11 would be Rodrigo de Paul playing for Allende out wide, and then you put Bright to play next to Busquets. All of a sudden, you give yourself a little more quality up top with Rodrigo de Paul playing that Tadeo Allende role, and then you give yourself more defensive presence with Yannick Bright taking over right next to Sergio Busquets. In my opinion, outside of the back line, because, I mean, that's a whole other issue, outside of that, you put the best 11 out there, and I think that would be your best 11. Let Rodrigo de Paul play out wide on the right side, and let Yannick Bright play next to Busquets. I think all of a sudden you have a very formidable team.
I agree, but I just don't think Rodrigo de Paul is fit enough to play on that right wing and give 120% on the offensive defensive end. So I think by inserting him in the middle there, you're allowing him to rest a little bit on some of Inter Miami's possessions, whereas Tadeo Allende would, have to go up and down. And he really, how we say in Spanish, has a lot of desgaste after the game. So, unfortunately, I think that's really what it is. It's more of a fitness thing. I agree. I think it would be interesting to see him there, but I also think Inter Miami has other plans to replace or to possibly put Tadeo Allende on the bench and bring somebody else in to replace him on that right flank. So if that's, the case, then, we'll see when that happens. But, I understand. I also would like to see Redondo get a chance as well and see, all the Argentinians in the game at one time and see, how that chemistry is between all of them.
I'm not as down on Redondo as a lot of other people are, but I definitely need to see Bright out there before I see Redondo. I do not want to see Redondo getting starts before Bright even gets minutes, because the fact that Bright wasn't even on the pitch last game is a little frustrating. I think Bright has done enough to earn himself minutes over Redondo. And if we go back to that, when we were in the beginning of the year seeing Redondo getting minutes over Bright, I think we're working backwards at that point. You got to let the best players play. And I think Bright has proven up until this point that he is better than Redondo. And as far as the back line, I mean, we have our fullbacks. We know there's Alba and Weigand. And then our center backs, Lujan didn't play that bad last night.
I thought he played great. I thought it was actually one of his better games. And I think he's actually had a string of really good games after he had a shaky up and down, when he first got here and he was injured for that time. But, we saw him mainly featured as a right back, a little bit as a right center back, but I think he's found his home at right center back, and he makes an interesting pairing. I would like a little bit more speed, within the center backs than what Falcon and Lujan offer us. But if they're rumored, like they say, to get Marc Bartra, he would be the ideal starting right back or starting right center back next to Falcon, because you would have not only speed, but you would have garra between the two players, and that's really what Inter Miami needs, in my opinion, is some more garra.
And I look, and again, just what I'm hearing around the rumor mill, we will be looking for Bartra, Pelestri, and possibly a keeper, is what I've been hearing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, because they definitely need help at keeper with the two injuries that they currently have.
Yeah, but I mean, we just said Rocco Rios played a fantastic game yesterday. So is he really the guy that you?
Yes, I don't want to take anything away from him because he had a great night. But I don't feel comfortable just because he had a good night to consistently make him the starter while everybody else is coming back from injury. Like he had a good night. I'm not going to deny that, but I don't want him to be the starter for a long stretch of games.
Yeah, and to answer Tony Axe's comment, Bartra is slow. Look, I just saw him play live, not on TV, live. And it was a friendly game. It was a Ronaldinho, the beautiful game. But I was on the pitch. I was on the pitch watching these guys play. And, yeah, I know it was a friendly game, but he's fit. That guy is fit. And I go watch these MLS
he's
games.
Fit, but is he fast?
Oh, yeah. I mean, who are you comparing him to? I mean, look at the rest of
Noah Allen. Noah Allen should be starting over Falcon.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. Absolutely not.
Noah Allen has been the best defender, in my opinion, on this team this year.
Oh, no doubt. I agree. But
so why can't he start over Falcon?
Because Falcon just offers a bit more security, has more experience, and he unfortunately Noah needs to grow a little bit more, and he's also working his way back from an injury, not an easy injury to come back to, a hamstring. So we'll see when he's 100% if it is. But I think you're nuts for saying that Noah Allen should start over Falcon.
Okay. So Adarsh thinks the same thing. But would you say that Noah Allen has been the better defender this year than Falcon?
Yeah, I think Noah Allen has been the best defender of the entire team.
So why would you say I'm crazy for saying that the person that's been playing the best this year deserves to start over the one that hasn't?
I don't know. I mean, when you say it that way, it sounds pretty interesting. But look, I think at the end of the day, you have to go with what's working right now. And you don't fix what's not broken. And fortunately for Mascherano, after a rough start to this, to the season, he's finally found the wheels. That's the other reason why. That's why I'm filibustering here. I'm filibustering here so that you'll let me continue to just talk and not have to mention.
We got to the bottom of it. Okay. Because look, I think Noah Allen's been the best defender. I don't look Falcon before the Club World Cup. I thought was having not the best start to his Inter Miami career or stint. I think Falcon has been much better since the Club World Cup. I thought he's been very solid. But Noah Allen has consistently been, I thought, the best defender on this team so far. And because of that, because he's been the best, I would continue to start him. But I'm not throwing shade at Falcon because I thought that he's been playing very well since the Club World Cup. But Noah Allen, I mean, up until this point, I think he's been the best defender. And I'm going to go with that. It's like people that say Redondo should start over Bright. Maybe you say that because of the name, because he's supposed to be better. But up until this year, and from what I've seen, Bright is the better start. So I think that he's earned his starting shot. That's all.
I agree with you on the Redondo Bright. I think Bright deserves to start over Redondo. And I do think that Redondo is playing more because of who he is and how much the team has invested in him. So I do agree with you there. But unfortunately, I just think, right now the best back line is Luján and Falcon, and you just can't break it up. You have to continue going with that until they show that they can't play together for, some sort of reason. You have to continue going there.
Okay. All right. Do you think I think that at least Bartra comes? I don't know if Pelestri comes also, even though I'm hearing that they're trying to make both of those things happen. But I think at least Bartra comes. What do you think?
Man, I really think both of them are going to come, or we're going to see
that both come.
Yeah, or we're going to see somebody at each of those positions come. So I wouldn't close myself off to just those two names. I know that Inter Miami is focused on those two guys, especially they're focused on the Bartra. So look, I think the chances of Inter Miami getting both players are very high. I know they're trying very hard. I know they're also, like you said, mentioning they're trying for the goalkeeper, who I think would be, we're talking about the same guy, I think he would be a fantastic person to add to this squad, especially knowing who we currently have.
Experience in the EPL?
Yeah. He played in France too.
Oh, okay, we're talking about the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think that, like I said, Noah Allen should be starting, but he won't be starting on Saturday probably. So the reason that we got into this topic to begin with, when you stepped away, was because I was saying for Saturday, I think that they might come out with the same starting 11, but I would have liked to see Rodrigo de Paul move up for Allende's spot and then put Bright in the starting slot. So talking about just about the Necaxa game on Saturday, and again, this is a team that they're going to leave themselves vulnerable to the counterattack. So I understand why it might be tempting to leave Allende out there because he is the vertical threat. What do you think the starting lineup should look like on Saturday?
Exactly how you have it on there.
Okay, that's fair. Look, if we're going to play the counter against a team that leaves itself susceptible, it makes sense to leave Allende out there. In his little fanny pack, he has that one trick, and it's run fast to the end line, and he's going to be able to pull that trick out a lot probably on Saturday.
Well, and he's also the type of player who seems to be streaky, right? So you want to get him streaking in the right direction going into, if you win on Saturday, the knockout stage. So, I know that you still have to play the third game, but you have to think that at least with 6 points, maybe 7 if you get a tie, possibly 8 if you get a tie and a win by PKs, that should be good enough to advance. So you have to want to get your players who might be in a slump streaking again. And I think this would be a fantastic game for him to get back on the scoring sheet. He had a couple of opportunities, in the last game. And I think, like you said, in a game against a team who's vulnerable against the counterattack, he's the perfect guy to play that game. So if he has 2 or 3 more opportunities, hopefully he finds the back of the net and he can get back on that streak like he was on earlier this year.
Well, like I said, on Saturday, he has an opportunity for that because this is a team that leaves itself open and vulnerable to the counterattack. So we'll see how that goes. So I guess we can now move on to predictions for Necaxa. Or shout out to Matt from SoFlo Soccer. We were driving home yesterday. Me and my wife, we put on his show as we were getting home, and he couldn't pronounce Necaxa. He just started calling him Necaxa. And I don't know why that we found that extremely funny. So shout out to Matt for making us laugh on the way home. So your predictions against Necaxa?
Look, I think Inter Miami's going to win. I think it's going to be a tough game. As you saw, they gave Atlanta United a wake up call. To say, to be nice about it, right? But I think Inter Miami is a different type of squad. I think they're battle tested. I think they have the players with a mentality of win now. And the addition of Rodrigo De Paul and what we saw yesterday in only his first game with the team, I think it's only going to get better with the next game. He's going to get accustomed little by little to the humidity down here. It's very different than the heat that he's used to playing in Spain or the lack thereof, where he's been playing for the last few years. And I think you're going to see him start to combine with Suarez as well. Maybe link up again on those old Atletico de Madrid days when they played together. They won
the title that year.
I know. I would love to see them link up a little bit more. I mean, dude, I know you saw that picture that Inter Miami posted yesterday. A lot of people retweeted it, but it was Rodrigo De Paul, Suarez, and Messi, and one of them was holding a mate. They were all walking into the game. I don't know if you saw that, but that picture was bad picture, man.
Were there 3 straws, or was it only 1 straw?
Only 1 straw, baby. And in the video, you actually see Suarez holding the mate and Rodrigo De Paul turning back and asking Suarez for it and him giving it to him. Only 1 straw.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do it. More power to you, but I can't do that. I think that, look, the tiebreaker for the top 4 teams is most wins and then goal differential. You need a score. I think that against Necaxa, we have an opportunity to score. This defense, like I said, and I said it again, they leave themselves open to the counter. We need to take advantage of this. I do think we'll win. My question is, are we going to be aggressive enough to pour it on, or are we going to play it safe so that we don't get scored on and not be overly aggressive, but at the same time not give ourselves as many opportunities to score? I think that Pumas is obviously it's a deeper team. Even though they're not in the best of form at the moment, they're probably a more dangerous team. So if we are going to score more than a few goals against the team, it will be Saturday, and we have to do that. Now, I will say, I got to watch the game over today, and watching Messi's reaction, spicy Messi throughout the game, his celebrations after that game-winning goal when they confirmed it. Messi knows that Mexicans don't like him, or at least the Mexican fans, and he likes to stick it to them. And I'm really enjoying watching Messi in Leagues Cup. I do think that he's going to come out to want to put a nail in the coffin of any team that he plays against from Liga MX. And I think that Miami wins. I don't know. I have a hard time saying clean sheet for Rocco. So I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say 4-1. I'm going to say it's going to be a fun game, and then we're going to put 4 on them, and we're going to win 4-1. And I do realize that Necaxa beat Atlanta 3-1, but Atlanta's a mess all on its own.
Interesting. I like your prediction. First, before I give my prediction, I'm going to ask you something. How many shots do you think Inter Miami had last night?
7.
19 shots.
Nice.
5 on target.
I thought you were trying to trick me, like, oh, you thought they played good, but they played like shit. Okay.
No.
I know. That's why I said 7, though. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fantastic. I think that's and that goes to show you that they're in, and it goes into my prediction, right? And what I'm trying to say is they're here to be aggressive. I don't think they're going to sit back. I think they're going to try and score as much as they can. You saw that yesterday. You saw them attacking every chance they got, going for the goal. Even taking shots from all over the place. So I think it's going to be, at the end of that, I still think it's not going to be as much as you think, but I think it'll be 3-1. But it'll be a very dominant 3-1 by Inter Miami, where, they don't have to sweat it out like they did last night.
No, man, I have a really good feeling about this game. I don't know why, because they beat Atlanta 3-1, which I thought Atlanta could beat them. They didn't. So I should probably be a little more conservative with my prediction. But I feel really good about it. I like what I saw on Wednesday. Rodrigo De Paul would just feel that much more comfortable with a day of practice, a game under his belt. I feel like things are going to go well. And if Allende doesn't start, I'll feel even better. Add a number, put 5-1 if Allende isn't starting. But if he's starting, I'm going to leave it at 4-1. He might even score a goal because he's going to be on the other end of a lot of those outlet passes. So, yeah. All right, so that was predictions. Solana, I know it was short notice. I let you know that I was going to come on, but Chris is still unavailable, so I appreciate you jumping on. Any final thoughts?
You know, I always have final thoughts, and my thoughts today are directed at those folks that that say that Messi is not good for this league, or that they can't wait for Messi to be gone from MLS because he doesn't belong here. He doesn't do anything for the league. Look, let's stop playing games, folks. Lionel Messi has been the best thing to ever happen to MLS. Since he's arrived, season ticket sales exploded across the league. Apple TV subscriptions soared. There's reportedly over 1 million new subscriptions. I know I'm going to get hate for that, but that's, I did my research there. Stadiums sold out everywhere he goes. Inter Miami matches have become must-see TV in over 100 different countries. The Inter Miami jersey is the top-selling shirt in North America. Ticket prices doubled, tripled, and sometimes quadrupled in some markets when Inter Miami comes to town. And on the field, he has 24 goals, 10 assists in 29 games this season, and he's won the Man of the Match award 11 different times. So Messi didn't just raise the bar. He absolutely rewrote the playbook for anybody who's come over from Europe into this league in North America. And what he's done is he's made Inter Miami not only a household name, but a global name. And he's made MLS relevant on the global stage. And so say what you want, but this man has changed the game in the United States forever.
I agree with absolutely everything you said. And again, selfishly, I did not think that I would get to see the GOAT play for my team for more than 3 years. At this rate, he's going to be playing for us for about 5 years, which is completely insane. Paris only got him for 2 years, and I know that was a mess, but they only got him for 2 years. You know what it is? Half of a decade with the greatest player of all time. Absolutely thankful that that's a possibility, that I'll get to witness that, and that my kids are going to get to enjoy it also. So absolutely. And again, everything you said, I agree with 100%. And then for the people saying that Twitter is a great source or isn't a great source, it came from Catalunya Radio, which is something that comes from Barcelona. And they are the ones that reported it. The person that reported it, the person that said it, works for ESPN and BBC, or is at least a contributor on ESPN and BBC. Does that mean that he is 100% accurate? Absolutely not. Does that mean that you maybe could take what he says maybe seriously? It's possible, because if he has these credentials, you would assume that he wouldn't run off and say something that was 100% just fabricated. So, we'll see. Again, nothing has been said 100% official, but it does make complete sense, because if there is a change in calendar, if he starts the season in 2027, the season would end in the beginning of 2028. So it's not like he's running straight through the age of 41. He would end still before he turns 41. So it all makes sense to me, the whole 2028 thing. And I think that it could happen. And I'm really excited about it.
Hey, there was reports he might play Copa America 2028.
Well, you know what? And that's another thing I brought up with Will this morning when I was on his show. It makes all the sense in the world now, because I thought after the World Cup he might retire from international football. But if he's playing through 2028 with us, the season ends in May, June, the beginning of June. All of a sudden, he could literally retire wearing the Argentina jersey, possibly holding up the Copa America trophy. That's a great way to go out as your career.
It's not going to happen. Uruguay is going to lift up the trophy in 2028, so he should retire before, so that he has a happy ending when Inter Miami lifts up the CONCACAF Champions Cup in 2028.
Serious question. I'm not talking shit. Just serious question. Outside of Valverde, who is the guy in Uruguay right now? And I'm asking because I really don't know.
Bentancur, for sure. Bentancur is the engine that runs the midfield for Uruguay. And other than that, I mean, we're an absolute mess right now. Even with our coach. Look, I'm a realist. I understand what's going on. And I know that there's one fecha or two fechas left. One doble fecha left here coming up at the beginning of September.
Uh-huh.
And I know that we're 90% in, and that's what all the pronosticos are showing and all that. But I'm gonna have my calculator out. I'm gonna be biting my nails. And I'm gonna be sitting there just like you guys will, hoping and praying for my team to win, so that we can classify to another World Cup.
And what happened with Darweezy? Darwin Nunez. I've never been a fan.
Yeah, he's falling off really bad.
Yeah, I've never been a fan. Bueno. All right. Well, again, it was great. Solana, Chris, if you're watching this, probably on replay because you're probably knocked out. He said he was heavily medicated once he got out of the hospital, so he's probably knocked out. But you watch this, we're wishing you a speedy recovery. Hope to see you Saturday in the post game. You gonna say something, Solana?
I was just gonna say, screw you, Chris.
I say that to him all the time, so I figured it'd be nice. Again, if you haven't already liked the show, at least for Chris, you know how he likes to do it. Take your thumb; it's free 99. So all that stuff that he likes to do. So shout out to Chris, and I hope he continues to get better. If you're listening on audio, we appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please leave us 5 stars, comment, review, all the good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. And as always, for those of you in the chat, appreciate you hanging out with us for the last 50 minutes. I do know that we came on an hour earlier than usual, but schedules are weird and we just had to. But we appreciate you. And if you found out that we were on because you have your notification bell on, thank you for that. That's the best way to do it. If you are watching this and you haven't, make sure you turn that notification bell on, because that way if we randomly come on at an odd hour, it alerts you. So appreciate everybody, and we will be back on Saturday for the post game. So until the next one, have a good one.